Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, we're going to be learning Fingerpicking Etude number 9. So the idea behind this lesson was to present a piece that required you to jump between multiple fingerpicking approaches and techniques. So this mimics what you would typically see if you're learning a fingerstyle song that is at, I'd say, an intermediate and above level. So I think this lesson is going to be helpful for a lot of you. So I've got this lesson split into two parts. In this lesson, which is part 1, we're going to be learning the first and the second theme. If you guys want to learn the third theme, well, we're going to be covering that in the part 2 lesson at rockclass101.com. So you can click this link right here, or you can go to the site and do a search for Fingerpicking Etude number 9. There you're also going to be able to find the complete tabs that you can print off and follow along with, as well as access the on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a really cool feature where you can hit play and you can watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed. Just a really cool asset and a great way to learn this song that much easier and quicker. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into this tune. Now theme 1 and theme 2 are written in 3/4, so that means we have 3 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat. So that's real important to remember. And then when we get to theme 3, we're switching over to 4/4, but we'll be talking about that in the part 2 lesson. So theme 1 switches between a 2-finger approach and a 3-finger approach for fingerpicking. Now if you're brand new to using multiple approaches for fingerpicking, then I'd highly suggest checking out our fingerpicking course. And that's going to cover a thumb approach, a 3-finger approach, and a 4-finger approach in really great detail. So this approach uses 2 fingers for the beginning of it, and actually for the majority of it, not up until the end, we'll switch to a 3-finger approach. So the 2 fingers that you're going to be using are going to be your thumb and your index finger. But what you can do is anchor with your right hand underneath the body. This is going to help stabilize the ukulele as well. And it's going to give you a good range of motion for fingerpicking with thumb and index. So what you want to do is take that pinky and that ring finger, and you can put it directly, see where the sound hole is. If you follow the sound hole right in the middle, all the way down, right where the body curves, right there, I'm just going to take the tips of my fingers, basically where that first knuckle is, and I'm going to put them anchored underneath the body. So it's just basically to give me some stability while I'm fingerpicking and playing. And you can see it also helps to hold the neck. So if I'm moving around too, it's another way to help me stabilize if I'm playing here and I have to jump up and down the neck. So that's the first step. And if you're new to this, then you kind of want to just get used to it. So one way you can get used to it is just to kind of do a little finger picking exercise to begin with. So the first thing that you can try is just to make any chord. The first chord in the song is an A minor, so that's just your middle finger on the 2nd fret of string 4. The rest are open. So you can try just a strum down with the thumb. And then let's go ahead and come back up and use our index finger to play string 1, string 2, and then we're going to use our thumb to play string 3 and string 4. So you can see that my index finger is picking up for those first 2 strings, and my thumb picks down for the last 2 strings. So this is just a way for you guys to get comfortable with it. So we're going to go strum 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead and hit pause and cycle through that a few times and get comfortable with that. And that is in a nutshell the gist of how to play with a 2-finger approach for this first part. So the key things to recap is that when we encounter a strum, we're going to be strumming down with our thumb. And when we're playing single notes, the thumb will be playing the 4th and the 3rd string. The index finger will be playing the 2nd and the 1st string. Alright, so let's jump into learning the tune. So the first thing I want to point out again is we are in 3/4, but it's the rhythm specifically. We just came out of the holiday season, Christmas and everything, and I think I was inspired by Greensleeves because you're seeing a lot of the same rhythms that are in that tune, which is a dotted quarter followed by an 1/8 and a quarter note. So if you're unfamiliar with rhythms, then you want to hit pause and check out this lesson real quick. It's all about understanding rhythmic notation and counting it, which is what we're going to be doing when we're learning it. So make sure you're familiar with how to play the beats and how they fit into the measures. All right, so let's jump into measure 1. So it kicks off with that A minor chord that we made. So it's all quarter notes. Let me go ahead and just play the first measure and then we'll break it down. Pretty simple. So we're starting with the A minor. You're going to do a strum just with the thumb, and then we're going to follow that up by playing the open first, and then take that ring finger, put it on the 2nd fret of string 1. Okay, so we've got strum, O, 2. Okay, let's try that together. 1, 2, 3. Strum, O, 2. Awesome. All right, here's what the second measure sounds like, and here's where we start to hear that green sleeves rhythm. So you can hear that first hit last a little bit longer. That's that dotted quarter. So if I was to count it out, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. So you can hear 1 and 2 and 3. So that's the key right there. So a dotted quarter means that we're playing it for the quarter note, so for one beat plus half of the quarter note's value. So what is half of a quarter note? Well, it's an eighth note, so we've got to play it for a quarter note plus an eighth note. So that's 1 and 2. So you're holding it out for beats 1 and 2. So let's learn how to do this. Let's go back to that A minor chord. We keep that intact, so we don't move the middle finger, it stays anchored. You're going to take that pinky, add it to the 3rd fret of string 1. So you're plucking 4 and 1 together. Okay, so when we pluck this, we're going to hold it for 1 and 2. So on the end of 2 is when we get rid of the pinky and we put our ring finger back on the 2nd fret of string 1, and we play that note. And then the last note we're playing is on beat 3, which is the open A. So if we try together, we have 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so you have 2 and 3 held down, so that's beat 1. 1 and 2. Then the end of 2, lift the pinky up, use the ring finger for the 2nd fret of string 1. And then for beat 3, we have the open A. So here we go together. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. So again, if you've played Greensleeves, then you're pretty familiar with that rhythm because it's throughout that entire tune. All right, so let's play bar 1 and 2 together. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, let's try again a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Awesome. All right, so for bar 3, we're switching over to a G chord and then back to a C for bar 4. So I'm going to go ahead and play 3 and 4 together, then we'll break it down. So it sounds like this. Okay, so you can hear it's the same rhythm in the beginning. We have 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. So first off, this G, we're cutting out the first string, so it's really a G5. It's a power chord. It doesn't have the major third in there. So the fingering we're going to do is a little bit different than what we typically are used to for making the regular G chord. We're going to use our middle finger for the 2nd fret of string 3 and your ring finger for the 3rd fret of string 2. Now when we strum down, we're strumming 4 to 2. So our melody note is this G note right here on string 2, which is the 3rd fret. So you want to target your strum to only hit to the 2nd string. So we're going to strum down to the 2nd string. That's going to last the dotted quarter note. So we have 1 and 2. Then on the end of 2, we're playing open first. And then beat 3, we have the open G. So we have 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so let's try that together. 1, 2, 3. Strum and 2 and 3. Okay, now the last bar is going to be open 3rd and open 2nd. So you're just plucking both of those and you're going to hold it out for the entire bar, so the last 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. So let's add that. We're going to try bars 3 and 4 together. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. So now let's try 1 through 4 together. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Cool. So now let's take a look at the second half. So we're going into bar 5. So the thing with bar 5 and 6 is that it's actually just identical to bar 1 and 2, which we already know. So you're playing the same stuff. You have strum, O2, pluck, 2, O. So all out of A minor. Now bar 7 and 8 has a little variation in it. So we're going back to the G5 with the same 2 fingers, second and third. We're doing the same strum. So let me go ahead and play 7 and 8 and then we'll break it down. But you can see here, it's just a little variation. So here's what it sounds like. Okay, so we're kicking off with that G5. We're strumming 4 to 2 again, and it's gonna last that dotted quarter. So we have 1 and 2. And the end of 2, we're playing the open first, then the second fret of string 1. That's beat 3. So that finishes up that 7th bar. So we have 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, then on the last bar, bar 8, we've got a C chord, just a basic C, so ring finger. And we're gonna hold that out for the entire measure, so 3 beats. So if we try 7 and 8 together, guys, again we have 4 to 2, open first, second fret, to basic C. But remember, it's got that little green sleeves timing. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. So let's try 5 through 8 together. Remember, 5 and 6 is identical to 1 and 2. 7 and 8 had a little variation. Here we go. Starting from 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2. Done. Cool. So now let's try 1 through 8. Let's see if we can boost up the tempo just slightly. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome, so there's the first half of theme 1. It's not too hard, very easy, especially when we only have a simplified finger picking approach. So let's look at the 9th bar, which is the second half of theme 1. So this second half is a little bit trickier. Now this 9th bar, we're kicking off with a partial bar chord. So if you're new to playing bar chords, then you want to check out this lesson. It's going to cover the correct form for the left hand, and that's really vital and very important for playing full bar chords and partial bar chords. And partial bar chords meaning that we're not covering all 4 strings. So this first one covers 3 out of 4 strings. So getting the form correct with the left hand and making sure you have the proper amount of finger strength is really going to help you get these chords down quicker and easier and make sure they sound nice and clean. So let me go ahead and play the first 2 bars and then we're going to break it down. So bar 9 and 10. Alright, so this bar begins with a D minor with a G in the bass. So to make this chord, we're going to take our index, lay it flat on the 5th fret, strings 1, 2, and 3, and that G string is open. So we're going to strum all 4 strings for this first hit. We're following that up by playing quarter notes. We have the 5th fret of string 1, so that's already barred, so we're just going to go ahead and pluck that one. And then take your ring, put it on the 7th fret of string 1, and play that note. So remember, all quarter notes we have strum, 5, 7. So if I count out the rhythm, I have 1, 2, 3. So let's give that a shot, you and I. Here we go. 1, 2, go. Strum, 5, 7. All right, so you're going to keep this bar intact for the next measure. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna get rid of that the ring finger. We're gonna put our pinky finger on the 8th fret of string 1. And we're gonna pluck 3 and 1 together. So that's 5 and 8. So remember, this is barred and held down the entire time. So you're plucking 3 and 1 together, and we've got that dotted quarter note rhythm for this one. 1 and 2. And then we're literally just going to do a walk down. So we're going backwards from what we played. So we're getting rid of the pinky. On the end of 2, we're playing 7 and then 5. Okay, so we have 1 and 2 and 3. So same rhythms as before. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so let's try bar 2, you and I, slowly. So we'll keep that D minor chord intact. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Awesome. Now let's try 1 and 2 together, or bar 9 and 10 together. 1, 2, 3. Strum 5, 7, 1 and 2 and 3. Awesome. And let's slow it down just a touch. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Awesome. So the next bar, it starts to get a little bit trickier, not too hard. We're going into an A7 chord. So think of it like this. You probably know the G7, I'm sure you do. If you move this chord up a whole step, it becomes an A7. So again, if you're new to moving shapes up the neck, and really it's so useful to understand how this works, because you can play these same chords in different positions and get higher voicings, and it adds a lot of harmony and color to your playing. If you're new to moving chord shapes up the neck and want to learn more about that, then check out this lesson on the caged method. So if we made this G7 chord and we moved it up a whole step, we're going to keep the open 4th intact. So we have an open G, then we've got middle on the 4th fret of string 3, index on the 3rd fret of string 2, and your ring finger on the 4th fret of string 1. So we've got an A7 chord. Okay, so this bar sounds like this, and our rhythm is a little bit different than this. We're throwing in 8th notes in the middle. So let me go ahead and play this, and I'm actually going to play this bar plus the next one, so we'll tackle 2 at a time. So here's what it sounds like. Okay, so let me count out that rhythm. You can hear how it's different for this measure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So we've got 8th notes stuck in the middle. So keep that A7 intact. We're going to go ahead and just strum that chord. And then we're going to play the 4th string open, followed by the 5th fret of string 1. So you've got to add your pinky down on that 1st string. So you have strum 05. Okay, and our rhythm is 1, 2, and. So again, we have strum 4, 5. So don't forget to add that. Then lift that pinky back up and play string 1, which is that 4th fret. So 1, 2, and 3. So we've got quarter, eighths, quarter. So here we go together. We have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, real slow. Let's you and I try together. 1, 2, 3. Strum 4, 5, 4. Okay, so again, 1, 2, go. Strum 4, 5, 4. Okay, the next bar, pretty simple. We're just gonna be lifting fingers up as we go through. We have to begin with lifting the ring finger up. So we're playing the open A, then we're playing the open G, and then we're lifting the index finger up to play the open E. So all quarter notes, 1, 2, 3. So what you want to do though is lift one finger at a time, because you want this chord to sustain into that measure. So check out how that sounds. Okay, so we want that to ring into the other measure, so we're not going to go lifting all the way up, right? So we just want to lift one at a time as it's needed. So again, we start kicking off with that A7. We lift the ring finger up, play the open A, play the open G, lift the index up, play the open E. and just all quarter notes. So let's give that a shot. Start from the A7, we'll try together. We have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's try those two bars together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and try these first 4 bars of the second half. So 9, 10, 11, and 12 together. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, this is where I switch off to a 3-finger approach. So most people will probably want to use these 3 fingers for the 3-finger approach, which is thumb, index, and middle. Thumb would get strings 4 and string 3, index would get string 2, middle would get string 1. So that's your finger picking approach for a 3-finger usage. Now, the reason that I'm switching is because it gives it a brighter tone. So using the thumb predominantly produces a softer, a warmer sound, but we can really change the dynamic if we switch over to using these other fingers, especially mixing in a strum with the knell. So the knell will produce a really bright sound. So just a way to change the dynamic a little bit and get a brighter sound, especially to end this melody. So we want to have this climax here where it just boosts up and then resolves. So that's what these last 2 bars are. They're climaxing and then resolving at the very end of this melody on that E minor. So let me go ahead and take it from the B7, and we're going to tackle these 2 bars again, and then we'll break it down. Okay, so it sounds like that. You can hear when I dig in with that knell, it really has that nice bright sound. So for this B7, we're doing a full bar chord, and we're going to take that index finger, lay it flat on the 2nd fret, all 4 strings, then take your middle finger, put it on the 3rd fret of string 3. So double 3. So when I strum, I'm strumming with the index finger. The knell of the index finger is going to give me a nice bright sound instead of the warm sound of the thumb. So this rhythm right here is the same as the one before where we had 1, 2, and 3. So we've got 8th notes in the middle. So we have B7, so we're going to strum this chord, and then we're going to play the 3rd string and follow that up with the ring finger on the 3rd fret of string 1. So you've got to cram that finger in, and the whole time we're keeping the B7 intact. So I've got strum 3 and then cram that ring finger into the 3rd fret of string 1. And then lift that finger up and play the 2nd fret, which is barred. Same string, string 1. So remember that rhythm. We have 1, 2, and 3. So I've got strum 3, 1, 1. But watch that ring finger goes down, comes up. Strum 3, 3, 2. If I call out string names, I have strum 3, 1, 1. Alright, so the key thing here is just that dynamic change. So strum with that index finger and the knell of the index finger. So let's try that bar slowly. And again, if you're new to the chord, to playing the bar chords, be sure to check out that lesson I linked earlier with the proper left hand form. Alright, so let's try it again together. We have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and I'll call out the strings. 1, 2, 3. Strum 3, 1, 1. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so hard part is keeping that bar chord intact. Remember, we want to sustain as we're playing, so keep everything held down. Now the next bar is quite a big jump. So we want to remember that we've got the dots above on top of the neck. So that's going to help you when you have big jumps up the neck. So remember, 3, 5, 7, 10, and the double dot is 12. So as I'm moving up for this, the first part has a big stretch, but think of the bass of this chord. We're literally playing a B7 again, but a higher voiced version. So go back to that G7, how we explained we had a G7, we moved it up a whole step, it became an A7. What happens if we move it up a whole step again? Well, it becomes the chord shape that we're playing out of. It's a B7. So this time around, you have that same chord shape, but it's starting on the 6th, 5th, and 6th fret. Now that's the bass shape that we're playing out of. The first hit has a little variation where we've got to stretch with the pinky. So the fingering that you're using, guys, is going to be your middle finger on the 6th fret of string 3, index on the 5th fret of string 2, and your pinky on the 9th fret of string 1. So those dots help a lot because I can see 5 and I can see 10. So I know my pinky's got to be 1 behind 10. And 5 helps guide me for my index finger. So those are very helpful for when you've got big jumps. You can also just practice the jump. You can go from this B7 to the higher one. So you can put it into a time frame such as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And notice how when I'm going up and down, what I'm doing is I'm doing the least amount of movement possible, right? So I'm not going da, da, da. I'm going, this middle finger slides up from the 3rd fret to the 6th fret, index and pinky come down, but they're transitioning as I move up. See how they transition as I move up, right? So it's not going da, 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 individual, it's going in unison. So that's something that you want to work on. And that's going to be really important for getting this transition done in time, cleanly, smoothly, and sounding good. So you can loop that just to get used to it. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So start slow and then gradually work it up. So again, we're going to go ahead and kick off with this first chord. So we're going to be plucking strings 1 and 2 together. It's all quarter notes, so very simple rhythm. 1 and 2 together, and then we're going to be playing string 3, and then you're going back to that basic B7 shape or G7 shape. So you can see that we're doing 5 and 9 together, so pluck 1 and 2 together, then play string 3, and then go ahead and switch to that basic shape for the dominant, and then we can play 1 and 2 together, and that'll finish up that bar. So we have 1, 2, 3. So let's try together. So we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one time again, slow. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's try those 2 bars together. So starting from this lower B7, we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, again, but slower. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Now the last chords in this song is going to resolve. So that was what I was talking about. This B7 is the climax, so you want to just hit it a little bit harder, play it a little bit more with some oomph, some emphasis, and then we want to resolve on this E minor to end this first theme. So this one, again, we have a bit of a stretch, but here's what these 2 bars sound like. You can hear I'm putting a little retardando into it, so I'm slowing down. So keep that in mind too. We want to gradually slow down when we get to that section. All right, so to form this chord, we're going to take that middle finger, put on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, take the index, put on the 3rd fret of string 2, and your pinky on 7 on string 1. Our G string will be open. So for this one, we're playing all quarter notes for this first bar. We're just going to pluck 1 and 2 together, and then we're going to pluck string 4, and then 1 and 2 together again. So let's try that, you and I. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now the last bar, we're starting off with the open G, and then we're going to strum all 4. So this last bar is hitting on beat 1 and strumming on beat 2 and just holding it out. And we're actually going to do a fermata for the end, so you're just going to hold it out for as long as you want before you jump into theme 2, which is the triplet picking. So let's try and put 1 and 2 together. We'll keep it in time for right now, just so we can do it together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 3. All right, so that's in time, but you can hear that it doesn't have the fill. So let's talk about getting the correct fill. So we've got really da, 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 bum. We really want to emphasize that slowdown, that retardando. So let me play these from B7 into that section. You can really hear how the fill is. Right, so it's almost like it's a pulsing. Ba, ch, da, ch, dum. So that's what you want to mimic, and that's what you want to get down. So 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you can hear how it just slows down. So that's the correct feel that we want to do, and it really is a cool dynamic, especially going into the next section. All right, so let's try and do from B7 to the end together, and I'll try and call out the best I can that little retardando, and then we'll wrap up this theme 1 and move into triplet picking. So from B7, we've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Pluck, 4, pluck, 4, strum. Awesome. All right, so let's try the second half all the way through, and then we'll move on to the next section. Starting from D minor, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 and 3. So a little hard for me to count out and do that little slow down, but just try and feel that section. All right, so let's go ahead and look at triplet picking. So we're gonna move through the second theme with the assumption that you guys know how to do the triplet picking technique and understand the rhythmic value behind eighth note triplets. Now, if you don't know how to do the technique and you don't understand the rhythmic value, then I'm going to put 2 links in the description box below. One of them is going to be a short little video that teaches you how to do the technique, and the other will explain the rhythm. So check those out and then come on back for this lesson. So theme 2 kicks off with 4 bars that are going to be repeated. So if you learn it once, you've got it for both times through. So it'll be 8 bars in total. Now, all we're doing is we're playing variations out of an E minor chord, but the chords are going to be a little tricky because we've got some unique fingering. So we're going to break everything down slowly. And let me do this. Let me go ahead and just play through all 4 bars, and then we'll start breaking it down. So here's what it sounds like. Okay, so let's go ahead and kick off with our first one. So we've got an E minor with an added 9. So confusing sounding chord, but think of it like this. Think of it as if you were to make a basic E minor, just that staircase shape. And the only difference that we're going to be doing is instead of the middle finger, we're going to go ahead and just get rid of the middle finger. We're going to bar our index finger. So take that index, lay it flat on the 2nd fret on strings 1 and 2. We keep our ring finger on the 4th fret of string 3, and our G string will be open. So in total I've got 0, 4, 2, 2, and that's the partial bar right there. So with this chord intact, we're going to be doing the picking pattern. So remember guys that the picking pattern is going to be these 2 fingers, your index and your middle finger, playing string 1. That's all they're going to do. They're only going to play string 1. So you can try that real quick. You have 2nd, 1st. Now, in between all of those hits, we have our thumb, which is going to be playing strings 4, 3, and 2. So our pattern is 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. So that's calling out string names, right? So it's the same pattern that was covered in the lesson if you just watched that other lesson. It's the same exact pattern that we're playing, and It's typically the pattern that is always done with triplet picking. So 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. So that's going to be the first bar. So remember, we're still in 3/4 for this. So we have 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Okay? So let's try you and I together. So we have slowly 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Awesome. Now, for the second bar, we're still playing out of these E minors, right? But this time around, it's going to be a little tricky because we've got to take our middle finger and we're going to put it on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So you can see that your ring finger lifts up. We're done with that for now. We're going to lift the ring finger up, take the middle finger, put it on top of the index finger, and it's playing the 2nd fret of string 3. And we've got the same pattern, guys. So 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. Okay, so the same pattern. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. We have 1, 2, 3. So we've got 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. And if we call out the rhythm, 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Okay, so now let's see if we can go from the first to the second bar. So we've got 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Awesome. Now after this, the third bar, we're just going to lift that middle finger up. We don't need it anymore. And all we're playing is going to be opens. So we've got open, open, and then still barred. So you notice that this partial bar stays constant throughout these 4 bars. So we don't do anything with the index finger. We always keep it anchored right there. So again, we have the same pattern, right? So this time the O starts with the open C. So we have O, 2, 2, 2nd string, 4th string. So if I call out string names, I have 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. Okay, so let's give that a shot. 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Okay, and then for the 4th bar, we're going back to the same thing we did for the second bar. So you've got to cram that middle finger back onto that 2nd fret of string 3. So we're back to the regular E minor 9 for this one. So again, that's open, 2nd, 2nd, 2nd. Pretty sounding chord. Same pattern. Let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. So if you think about it, you're just cycling. We have the 3rd string that's moving. So we have the 4th fret for the 1st bar. We have the 2nd fret for the 2nd bar. We have the open for the 3rd bar. And then we go back to the 2nd for the 4th bar. So you have 4, 2, open, 2. And that's all that's happening. So when you go through everything, let's try together, that's the only thing that's moving. So we have 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Okay, so that is going to go 2 times in a row. So you're just going to double that section. So you have 8 bars total. And then that will lead us into the second half of theme 2. Now there's one change that's really important to do. So let's talk about that real quick before we learn the next part. So when you get to the last bar, so bar 8, so you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you get to here the last time through, instead of using that middle finger to play the 2nd fret of string 3, I want you to shift your index finger up. So your partial bar is still partial bar, but it's going to cover the third string as well. So you still have 0, 2, 2, 2, but you're using your index finger to cover it. And the reason is because as we go up for the next section, you can see all we have to do is move our index finger up and it's ready for the next part. So it's going to make it a lot easier to play all the stuff that's about to come. And you can see how that works. So that's going to make things much, much easier. I know I said it twice in a row, but trust me, it's going to make things much easier. So let's try this. We are going to practice bars 7 and 8, which is the same as 3 and 4, but we're just going to move that index finger up. You're literally just shifting it up like that. So if I start from the third bar, or technically our 7th bar, I have 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. So you see how I'm just shifting up, just like that. So that's just something that you want to practice. All right, so let's look at the next half. All right, so for this next half, we're kicking off with a C6. So we left off flat on the 2nd fret, strings 1, 2, and 3. All you're going to do is just shift that index finger up a half step. So it's going to be flat on the 3rd fret, strings 1, 2, and 3, and we have the open G as well. Now we're going to add our middle finger to the 4th fret of string 3 and our ring finger to the 5th fret of string 2. That gives us our first chord. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play through this, and you can see, again, our movement is happening on the 3rd string, so it's literally just walking down. So it's a little, I would say, it's a little bit like a voice leading, how we're switching between one chord to the next. So it gives it a nice movement. So that's that first 4 bars for the first part of the second half. That's a lot of first and second halves, but that gives you an idea. So let's tackle those 4 bars and then we'll get to the very last few. All right, so keep that chord intact for C6, and we've got the same pattern happening, guys. So we have 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. So let's try it together slowly. 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplets. Okay, now the second bar, all we're going to be doing is lifting that middle finger up, and this in turn will give us a C minor 6. So very, very easy change. So all we had to do was lift the middle finger up. That means I have open 3rd, 5th, 3rd. So keep that bar intact. All right, same pattern, guys. Let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplets. Okay, let's try the first and the second bar. So put the middle back down on that 4th fret of string 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. So make sure you lift up for that second bar. Really pretty sounding stuff. Now, the next bar is going to have us moving back down to the 2nd fret. So we've got to shift our index finger back down a half step. So the thing with this bar is that when we shift down, we're going to lift our ring finger up as well. So I'm lifting the ring up and I'm moving down to the 2nd fret. So this is key. Even though this chord that we're about to play out of is a G add 9, that means that we're going to have our 2nd finger barred on that 2nd fret, and we're adding our pinky to the 5th fret of string 2. So that's open 2nd, 5th, 2nd. The thing is that when I shift down, I don't want to add the pinky right away. I'm going to add it when I need it, and it's going to make it much easier to play. So just watch how I go from the C minor 6, the 2nd bar, to the 3rd bar, and I add the pinky when I need it. Okay, so you catch that? That's going to make it so much easier and sound a little bit better. So let me show you that one again. I have... So let's break that down slowly. So from bar 2, you had that C minor 6. Lift the ring, move the index down a half step at the same time. So we're doing that in unison. So boom. Then we start picking the pattern out of it. 3, 1, 1, and then When we get to the second beat in it, we add that pinky to the 5th fret of string 2. Okay, and then we continue the pattern. So that's the trick with that bar. So again, if I take it from this last bar, I lift the ring, slide down a half step, start the pattern, 3, 1, 1, pinky, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. Okay, so that's key. So it may be a little tricky, you may have to work on it a bit, but trust me, that's going to be the easiest way to tackle this. So let's give this a shot, guys. Let's try just from the 2nd bar to the 3rd bar with that pinky getting added on beat 2. So starting from the 3rd bar really slow, we have 1, 2, 3, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplets. Okay? Now let's go ahead and look at the last 4th bar for this section. So I'm going to keep my pinky intact. All I'm going to do is I'm going to move my index finger down a half step. So it's going to be the 1st fret of string 3, and then I'm adding my middle finger to the 2nd fret of string 1. So very big stretch for this chord. And I've got open, 1st, 5th, 2nd. And it's the same pattern, guys. Okay, so let's give that a shot. 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplets. Okay, so if you are new to doing stretch chords, then I've got an extra lesson that's going to help you increase your left hand reach, so you can click right here. And I'm also going to put the links for that in the description box below too. So be sure to check that out if you're having a little struggle with doing this bit of a stretch. So our movement for the 4th bar, we can again add 1 finger first and then the 2nd finger. So that's the index and then the middle finger. So watch how that happens, and then we'll break it down. So you saw that finger got added first, then the middle finger. But this hits on the 1st beat, so that's beat 1, the 1st of the 3 triplets, and then that comes down for the 2nd of the 2nd and 3rd triplet. So you can see 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet. So you can see 1 triplet. So you got to add that immediately after the 1st hit. So that is probably going to be the easiest way. I wouldn't worry about trying to go together at the same time on beat 1. I would go ba ba, but quickly for this one. Okay, so that will finish up those 4 bars. So let's try this. Let's go 1 through 4 for the 2nd half, real slow. So we're starting off with C6. We have 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Okay? Now, the easy part, this next 2 bars, is going to start with all opens. So we get a break from playing hard stuff, which is nice. And then we have a B over G, which is going to be our 3rd fret of string 3 with the middle finger, and then lay the index finger flat again on the 2nd frets of strings 1 and 2. And we have an open G. So I've got open, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd. So let me play those 2 bars. Sounds like this. Okay, so again, this 5th bar is just all opens. O, 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 O. So if I call it strings, same pattern. 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. And then we go to the B over G. 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. Okay, then this song's going to end with an E minor chord. So this last chord is going to be your middle finger on the 6th fret of string 3 and your ring finger on the 7th fret of string 1. And the rest are open. Now you're going to start a little retardando on that B over G. So when I'm starting from the 5th bar, I have Okay? So you just want to naturally, gradually slow down. So let's give it a shot. Let's go 1 through 7 for this whole section. So we've got from C6, 1, 2, 3. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 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 strum. So a nice little slowdown. And then that will resolve our theme 2. So a lot of cool stuff. So don't forget that first part is just 2 times through. So you're going to be playing all of that stuff, whoops, with the bar. And then when you get to that one, remember to shift up. And then we get to the second half. And that's it. So guys, triplet picking, a lot of fun, really, really cool technique, really useful, very versatile, and really kind of jazzes things up. It's one of the most popular techniques that I get asked to do lessons for. So, it was a lot of fun to throw it in, and I'm probably going to throw it in more throughout this year. Anyways, guys, we're going to cover theme 3 in the second lesson, which is going to be at this link right here, or you can go to the site and do a search for Fingerpicking Etude 9. So in part 2, we'll cover all of theme 3, and if you'd like to get the tabs, that's going to be available on the page as well as access to the on-screen tab viewer. So it's the interactive tab that you can hit, play on, watch it scroll across in real time. Just really, really cool. Helps you learn songs much easier and quicker. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you in part 2. Thanks.